Daley Georges is a law firm that used to be known as Daley Georges. It was one of the most important law firms in the city, particularly in the field of zoning, which is very lucrative, during the time of Mayor Richard M. Daley. And that was possibly because the firm was composed of Michael Daley, one of the brothers of former Mayor Daley, and another lawyer named Jack George. Now, since Rich Daley left office 3 years ago, the firm has continued on, but now it's become Daley and Georges, with the Georges representing Mara Georges, and she was the corporation counsel, the top lawyer, literally, for Mayor Richard M. Daley's administration during most of the 22 years that he was in office. So we're talking about one of the most clout-heavy firms in Chicago, particularly in the era of Mayor Richard M. Daley. There was a fundraiser last week for Alderman Bob Fioretti, who, by the way, is one of the most vocal city council critics of Mayor Rahm Emanuel. The keynote speaker at that fundraiser was Karen Lewis, the head of the Chicago Teachers Union, who is one of the few people in Chicago that can outdo Fioretti in terms of criticizing Mayor Rahm Emanuel. So the last people that you might expect to see there are Michael Daley, the brother of Mayor Rahm Emanuel's predecessor, and Mara Georges, his law partner, who was one of the most important aides in the Daley administration that preceded the Emanuel administration. That raised a lot of eyebrows. Well, we talked to Mara Georges. We didn't get to talk to Michael Daley because, as he says, I don't do interviews. Mara Georges did, however, call right back, and she handled it in a very, very nonplussed manner, much as she always did when she was put out there to deal with the heat and deal with the questions about the various scandals that popped up in Mayor Richard M. Daley's administration. And she says all they were doing there at the Fioretti fundraiser was showing some support for the alderman, and they were also very, very interested to hear Karen Lewis speak. She said she'd never heard her before, but she was very impressed. Now, I asked her what she thought about the actual contents of Karen Lewis's speech, which was very critical of the man that she called Emperor Emanuel. And Mara Georges said she didn't want to comment on the actual contents of the speech, just was very impressed with Karen Lewis's speaking style.